So we've got 4 minutes and 25 seconds, and I have time for two questions. One related to your book. You spent all that time writing this book, so let's talk about it. You write that power springs from the people, from consensus. It goes back to the Lincoln quote that you mentioned earlier. And you're right, it isn't something that comes from on high. You define it as an art. But for Trump, it's not the art of power, but the force of power. Has this election redefined how power is wielded in Washington?
No, I think it defines one election. And that's the way it has to be, because our democracy, in my view, our democracy is at stake when we are having really... See, here's the thing. Let's get fundamental. Let's push back a bit. For a while now, including him, but other Republicans as well, and this is not an election about Bob Dole or Mitt Romney or George Bush, father or son, or anything like that, John McCain. This is a different dynamic here. We're talking about patriotism. We're talking about belief in the role of government. Since the beginning of our country, it has been the debate, the beautiful debate of a democracy, disagreement as to what the role of government is, what the role of the central government is versus state governments and the rest of that. And that's the vitality of it all. These people don't believe in governance, and they don't believe in science. For me, the answer to so many of our challenges is science, 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 and science. Whether it's health, whether it's economic success and prevailing globally in technology, whether it's saving the planet, the list goes on. But they don't believe that. So if science says we have to do this about climate or about children's development, and government says, okay, so we have these protections or these suggestions, two no's do not make a yes. So we're talking about a big deal thing. We're not talking about the take over the White House. So if you're putting people in those positions who have no... Now, again, the president won. He has a right to his appointments. I don't... but he also has a responsibility to have people, whether we agree with their position or not, we have to have some respect for their knowledge, their perspective on what this means for the country and how that translates to the kitchen table. So I don't call this, I'm more hopeful about how we can pull this back in, respectful that the people have spoken. It's a democracy, the people have spoken. But the fact is that we have to examine how so many people didn't vote, and those who voted, I mean, how could we have protected not only protected, ensured the pensions of union workers, have prevailing wage, all these things, fairness and justice, and people saying, I don't know what that means to me, because the cultural issues have also continued and have sort of revived the 3 Gs, gays, God, and guns.
Madam Speaker.
That's it. Yeah. And that has an impact on people's voting. God, that's their view of the independent decision-making that God has given women and families. That's their view of God.